day once again. We'll continue with efficiency. Now the focus is productive efficiency. For productive efficiency, it's different from allocative efficiency. For allocative efficiency, consumers are, if resources are being stationed or channeled to ensure that consumers are able to maximize their welfare, that is allocative efficiency. But for productive efficiency, it's dealing with the firm itself. So what happens with productive efficiency and what happens with firms? So productive efficiency exists when production is achieved at lowest average cost. There's efficiency, which means we are able to achieve a reduction in our cost of production. But now for productive efficiency, production efficiency will happen or will occur if a firm is able to reduce its average cost of production. That means a firm is able to achieve the lowest possible average cost of production in the cost of producing. That is what productive efficiency is. So there is productive inefficiency when the cost of production is above the minimum possible given the current state of knowledge. So a firm will be considered as productive inefficient if it's unable to minimize or it's unable to achieve the minimum possible lowest average cost within the industry based on the knowledge it's able to have access to. So that means a firm will be productive and inefficient if it's unable to use its resources to achieve the lowest minimum possible average cost of production. So for instance, a firm which produces 1 million units at a cost of $10,000 would be productively inefficient if it could have produced that output at a cost of $8,000. So if a firm is supposed to spend $8,000 in the cost of producing output, but it uses $10,000 to produce the same output, then the firm will be considered as productive inefficient. So if productive inefficiency occurs if a firm is unable to achieve the lowest minimum average cost in the cost of producing a product. So this can be illustrated on an average cost curve diagram figure. If average cost curve diagram figure 2, I think it's down. We check. Okay, this is the figure 2. Yeah, we use it this way. So they said with figure 2, the figure 2 shows the average cost for a firm. It is productively efficient if it's producing OA. If the firm is producing at OA, that means the highest possible output this at OA, given that the average cost of production is in between effective efficiency here, because anything above A will bring about these economies of scale. So it's still within the economies of scale here, which means a firm can still achieve lowest average cost of production between OC, B, and A. OA is the minimum. So a firm will be considered as efficient if it's able to produce at OA and at a reduced cost of OE. Let's check. They said there will be, if it is productively efficient, if it is producing at OE, then at an average cost of OE. So here, the average cost, and so a firm will be considered as productively efficient if it's producing at OA with the lowest average cost curve of OE. This is the lowest possible cost within the industry, and the highest highest output is at OA, not at OD, because at OD costs will be increasing. Anything more than this point will bring about an increase in the average cost of production, and that is not efficiency. That will bring about inefficiency. So efficiency here is producing at OA at the cost of OE. That is the point they are making there. So for a firm, productive efficiency only occurs when production takes place at lowest average cost. So in this case, it is an average cost of OE and an output level of OA. Anything outside this will bring about inefficiency. So let's go down. Let's go up to C again. Here they said, if it produces OD at an average cost of OF, if it's producing OD at an average cost of OF, though it's still between the average cost curve, but what happens there, it is inefficiency. Why is it inefficient? In this case, however, it is producing too little to be productively efficient. Because at this point, they said, if it produces OD at an average cost of OF, it's not the lowest average cost possible. The same argument applies if it produces at OC at an average cost of OF. So OC, OD, OF are inefficiency. OD, OC, are productive inefficiency. Why? At OC, it's producing the lowest possible output because this is the lowest. There's OB, there's OA, which the firm can still produce. But for the fact that the firm is producing at OC at the cost of OF, it is productive inefficiency because it's not producing at the highest possible output. And at OD, it is producing the highest possible output, but at not the lowest possible cost. So two things are here. At OCOF, the firm is producing the lowest possible output. It is productive inefficiency because it's producing the lowest and the cost is not the lowest that can be achieved. The lowest cost that can be achieved here is at OE, but the cost here is at OF. Same goes to when it's producing the highest possible here at OD. If producing at OD at the same cost of OF, it is still productive inefficient because it's producing at the highest but not the lowest cost that can be achieved. And it is also increasing the average cost of production, which will bring about these economies of scale. So, there will be productive, that's about productive inefficiency. So there will also be productive inefficiency if the firm produces within its average cost curve boundary. If the firm is operating at point H here, it will only be producing at OB at point H. Then output will be at OB, like I said, at point H, the output will be at OB. Then how is it productive inefficient? It is productive inefficient because first, at point H, it is not achieving the lowest average cost. At point H, the highest cost it's achieving here at point H, it's in the highest cost of production, which is at G, OG, which is not good for the firm. And that's the first reason why it is not productive efficient. That's why it is productive inefficiency. And the second point is that at OB, and second, even if it was producing at the average cost boundary, production of OB would be too low to achieve minimum average cost. Producing at OB means it cannot achieve the lowest average cost because at OB, the average cost of production is still higher than producing at OA. At OB, we have a higher average cost than OA. At OA, we have E. At OB, we have slightly above E. So the firm is productive inefficient, producing at point H because that is the highest possible cost, which is not good, which is inefficient. And producing at OB means that the firm is not able to achieve the lowest possible cost reduction in the cost of production because at OB it is slightly above E, while at O it is at E. So that is what we call productive inefficiency. So for this firm to be productive efficient, it has to produce at OA and at the cost of OE. That is what we call productive efficiency. For an economy, that is about that. Then for an economy as a whole, there is productive efficiency if it is operating on its production possibility frontier. To understand why, consider what would happen if one competitive firm in the economy was productively inefficient. The inefficient firm would use up too many resources to produce its output, either by expanding or contracting output, or closing down and allowing its production to be taken over by other firms in the industry. Average cost could be reduced to a minimum. So releasing resources to be used elsewhere in the economy. There is no possibility of gaining any extra production in the economy if all firms are producing at lowest cost. Hence, there must be productive efficiency only when the economy is operating on its production possibility frontier or boundary. So, as the economy as a whole, there will be productive efficiency in the economy if firms are operating and producing within their production possibility frontier. It means they will be using resources judiciously. That is the point making there. So that's about that. Then when we look at the said in figure 2, OA is productively efficient. OA is the productively efficient level of output, whether the average cost curve is short run average cost curve or the long run average cost curve. Though I explained that, but what they are saying is this: there's always productive efficiency in the short run and in the long run. In the short run, if the firm is producing within the short run average cost of production in the short run, there's productive efficiency. And in the long run, there's productive efficiency in the long run if the firm is operating or producing in the curve that represents the long run average cost of production. So let's read anyway. A firm is relatively efficient in the short run if it is operating on the bottom of its short run average cost curve. Operating on the bottom of the short run average cost curve, that is productive efficiency in the long run. And if it's operating on the bottom of the long run average cost curve, average cost curve, it is productive efficiency in the long run. That is about productive efficiency, and I think for economy as a whole, it's been explained here. For the economy as a whole, a firm will be considered, for the economy as a whole, a firm will be considered operating, for the economy as a whole, the country will be considered as productive efficient if the firms in that economy are producing in between their production possibility frontier. So that is about productive efficiency. Note that productive efficiency or production efficiency will occur if a firm is able to reduce its average cost of production to the minimum that is obtainable or achievable within the industry. And for this figure 2, we have only one productive efficiency here, and it is at OA, producing at OA and at the cost of OE. Anything outside this will bring about productive inefficiency or production inefficiency. Producing at OB means you are producing slightly above the achievable, slightly above what will be achieved in terms of output and in terms of cost. Because producing at OB means your cost of production is increasing. Producing at OC means you are producing lower than what you are supposed to produce within the economy. And producing at point H means the economy or the firm is having a higher cost of production at G, which is production inefficient. So this is about productive efficiency. Thank you.